What makes a roller coaster great? That answer is different for many people. One thing is clear though, roller coasters have been getting better. Since the 1980s, the innovations in the amusement park industry have been incredible. So much has changed, and for the better. Technology is propelling us into the future, bringing more and more great roller coasters. But can this trend continue? Is there even a better? And if so, what does that mean? In today's video, I'm going to talk about great coasters, what that means, where the industry can go, and in a broader sense, how much can humans realistically innovate, and is this really a good thing? Let's dive in. Just a quick heads up, this video is going to get kind of philosophical towards the end, but for now, let's just admire the innovation in the coaster industry. We went from the first steel coasters being built in the 1960s to well-engineered giga coasters just 40 years later, but no period has been as ridiculously progressive as the 20 years between 1990 and 2010. Nearly all great roller coasters were built in these 20 years, and looking at the 1990s versus the 2010s roller coasters is like night and day. The period between 2010 to 2030, or even 2020 to 2040, will be nothing like this. The room for improvement is just not there. Modern day roller coasters are objectively better than those of the past, with stronger airtime, smoother transitions, and more effective elements. However, it feels like the innovation is slowing down, and that's not anyone's fault. There's just no more room to innovate. Think of your favorite roller coaster. For me, this is Maverick at Cedar Point. Is this the best coaster experience possible on Earth? There are so many factors that go into a great coaster beyond just the layout. Basic things like the weather, seat, and the time of day, but also stuff that no one seems to think about, like how long did you wait in line? How well did you sleep? How much did you pay? And more. Do you ever go through a breakup or lose a loved one? Yeah, the coaster isn't going to be as good. These factors are obviously beyond the scope of even the greatest innovation. Back to Maverick. I rode this at night after having quite possibly the best day of my life at Cedar Point, and this was the last ride of the night. All of these are factors that made the experience great outside of the coaster itself. Sure, it could be taller, faster, longer, and yeah, that would probably make it better. An ever-present discussion in the coaster community is whether coasters should be judged off of how they ride most of the time or the greatest possible experience they can deliver. I fall in the second category. A coaster should be judged off the greatest experience it can deliver. That's why Maverick is my number one, even though Millennium Force is probably the better ride most of the time. What if a park could force these factors? What if a park could somehow control the time of day or the weather? Make every ride the last ride of the night. Make every ride special. Make every ride the greatest ride that coaster could possibly deliver. Let's look at indoor roller coasters. No one really talks about indoor roller coasters because there's really no reason to. In the larger scheme of things, they're completely irrelevant, but they are really important in the sense that they deliver identical ride experiences every time, regardless of other factors. Do you feel special getting a night ride on Flight of Fear? Obviously not. So I think that even if parks could deliver the perfect ride experience every time, they shouldn't. Imagine if Twisted Colossus could duel every time. Wouldn't that somehow make the duel less special, therefore lowering the coaster's greatest potential ride, therefore making the coaster worse? How special a ride is highly affects how good it is in your mind. But what really makes a roller coaster great? Is it the airtime, speed, forces, heights? What is it? Is that 2 minutes where we're truly removed from reality? We have already reached what I believe to be the pinnacle of roller coaster design. There is no more room to evolve, to improve. The newest rides are glossy smooth, perfectly crafted, but we still find ourselves longing for the more crude and simple coasters of the early 2000s. Perhaps we could see some kind of backward evolution. Like how many people are ditching social media and television. Maybe an era of less refined, modern coasters is ahead of us, or the experience feels truly authentic and out of control. This applies to the non-coaster world as well. 100 years ago, Roller coasters could not even be imagined. In the next 100 years, will there be the same innovation as the previous 100? I don't think so. For most of history, humans were pretty primitive, and only in like the 1800s did stuff really start to change. In 100 years, will theme parks look radically different from now? Will there even be theme parks? What would a new for 21-23 roller coaster look like? Who knows, but it's pretty cool to think about. What kind of crazy technology will parks have relatively easy access to? Would there even be new crazy technology? Maybe a coaster that can change heights based off how tall riders want it to be, or the same with launch speed. To wrap up, roller coaster innovation is slowing down, but that's just because there's nowhere more to go. The same applies to the real world. Let me know in the comments what you think a roller coaster would look like in 100 years. Thank you so much for watching, and please consider giving this video a like and subscribing. I'll see you all in the next video.